Hi, my name is Dr. Cheryl Meyer, and I am a psychologist. And psychology is, the study of, the study of the psyche. Ology means study of, like theology is theos, ology, study of God. Psychology is the study of the psyche, which is your soul. All right, so that's always been my passion. Always. When I got my doctorate in psychology, I wanted to study the soul. I wanted to understand what is our soul, because I understand us as souls here. And I only have a few minutes today, but what was coming to my heart to share, to teach, because I make a practice, a discipline of giving away this time. I do it twice a week now for 10 or 15 minutes each time, because I always want to give away what's been given to me. I want an open hand. I want everyone to have access to this, because it says without knowledge people perish. Like, I don't want you to perish in the bliss and joy of your life, the true joy that you can have. And so I was thinking, and I love being by the trees, so I'm walking over here in nature. I was thinking, what was really moving my heart the other day, right, about our soul is, here's this giant tree, is about our slavery, is about sin, the idea of sin, okay? The idea of, the word sin in Greek means to miss the mark, hamartia. And so it's like if we have an arrow here, and I always do it like this heart, you're aiming for perfect love. And when you miss that, you're missing the point of all of life. You're missing the point of being here, of your soul's existence here. What is your soul wanting to learn? What is your soul here for? Oh, there's a bird right there. Look. There's a little bluebird. Just be present. That reminds me to be present. Like, stop being so caught up with what my mind wanted to convey, is be present. You are a soul in a human body. I think this is a sycamore tree. Yeah, the soft, giant leaves. How did this tree get here? Look how big this tree is. It's so giant. This tree was once a seed. And it's like, what I read in the mystic writings is that so many of us, we think we're already a tree, but we're really the seed, and we haven't let ourselves die in the ground. And so, what I was seeing about sin, which is to miss the mark, which is to miss the mark of perfect love, which is enslaves us. Whenever we go to something less than perfect love, we are enslaved by that. And so the story of the Egyptians again, the Israelites leaving Egypt, and the Egyptians that were enslaving them at the time, now, Jesus first went to Egypt when he was a baby, he was sent to Egypt. So I'm not saying anything about Egypt. It just, in this picture, Egypt, somehow the Israelites had become enslaved. And in the Passover, and when Moses came, they were able to leave. But I won't go into all of the theology. I'm just talking about the psychology right now of when we're enslaved by the things that entangle us, I would have to study. I would want to study all over again how they became enslaved, how the Israelites got in that predicament. But regardless, they were. And so when you see them going to the Red Sea, and it says that, I read some old Torah commentaries that Moses was like in the water up to his chest before the water opened up. And that's just how they expressed it. Is like, when you're leaving your sins behind, the ways that keep us enslaved, but they make us feel secure in the moment because we're controlling something. It's kind of like if I work with someone, this is the easier way to see it, that has an eating disorder, that had a lot of pain in childhood, and they're using their food and they're trying to fill up the emptiness with food, or they're throwing it up because they can't stand the shame. You can understand that they become enslaved to a pattern that's not solving their pain. It's not solving the love that they're wishing for. But I was just being taught the other day, it's like when you're walking through, Moses parts the water, or God parts the water, but Moses is there, and there's a wall of water on this side and a wall of water on that side. That's the vision that was coming to me. It's like, that's exactly what it feels like. Imagine what it feels like when you're walking through to get away from slavery. What happens is the sins, the things that you were so entangled and enamored with before, that you thought you had to live in slavery. You thought that was the only security you could have. It's like it says Pharaoh hardened his heart and came after them. So it's like, imagine your old stuff will fight harder to try to get you to go back to slavery. But you're like, I don't want slavery, but I'm going to die. It looks like you're going to die. Oh, I wondered why this tree was coming up again. Because you have to die. It's like the outer shell of your seed has to go into the ground. Christ says, take up your cross every day and follow me. This outer shell has to go has to be peeled off so that you can go into the ground and become all that you were meant to become. What if the divine love, if God put all these gifts inside of you, and you have a purpose here, and you have beauty to share with the world, and healing to give, and inventions to create, and whatever else. But if you're in jail or you're in slavery, all of that is being blocked. All you're doing is making these bricks with straw. You're just doing this monotonous thing over and over again, and you're not activating your purpose. But when we're set free from that, I was at the ocean the other day, and there's this island across the ocean, and I was just imagining the water in the ocean going up and me walking through to get to that island, and I was like, I would be so scared. I was like, every moment I'd be like, I'm gonna die. This water could go on me every time. But what it's teaching you is faith. It's teaching you faith in something higher than what is of this world, something we can grab our hands on, something like, I'm so sick of this shame, I'm gonna keep throwing it up out of my body. That doesn't solve anything. It doesn't solve anything. So what the divine love offers us is something higher than enslavement, and something higher than hiding our gifts behind, that never get activated, that never get, given back to the world, because we're so caught in being a slave. And they're like, why are we going to die here in the wilderness? We could have just stayed and been slaves. Why would God lead us out to just die? But he wasn't. But then they kept murmuring and stuff was coming up, but they walked through the water. And then the Egyptians, I don't know if you know the story, they came after them. And God said, be still and watch, and I will take care of your enemies. I will fight for you. And the waters dropped on all of them and stopped their wheels, and all this stuff was happening. They had a warning. They saw that their wheels were being stopped. And so there's like a miraculous way that God can take our old ways of being that we were so familiar with, that we grew up with that. And there's lots more I could talk about why we're so entangled, and we get a high from going back to those old ways, even though they're not good for us. We're missing the point of life. We're missing the mark, of true love. We all want true love, but we step on it. But there's a way out. And so if we die and we cross this way that's shown to us, it feels like if God doesn't do his part, we're going to die any moment from going this new way because it's unfamiliar. And that's what I see all the time as a psychologist, is when you have to leave the unfamiliar, when you have to leave the ways of your parents. By a tree, look how big that is. The ways of your parents, it feels like you're going to die because we were taught, don't bite the hand that feeds you. And so you're going against what they taught you. Whenever they taught you the wrong way, they taught you. I mean, it's in all my videos, so I explain it more later. That's all I can say for now is, you know, if our parents, let's just say, were chaotic and abusive or something, or they were drinking all the time, if we choose to go a different way, you know, in our minds, they could be like, what do you think you're doing? You don't deserve all that goodness. You don't deserve all that love. You don't deserve peace in your life. You have to struggle like us and stay in addiction. And so it feels disloyal, but you're being loyal to love, to divine love, to something higher. And if you learn in faith, as you walk that way, you learn through obedience. You are dying to yourself every day. If Christ says, take up your cross daily and follow me, you're dying every day when you go that path, when you go the path of love. But it's really scary. And the old way comes back and tries to taunt you louder. But just know that's right when you're about to be released. And ask God to help you and give you grace to get to this other side. We don't know the possibilities because we haven't asked for that grace. All right, much love.